Is anyone going to ask what Antifa is? Who leads this group? How many more riots do they have to lead before the New York Times gets interested and does a 5-part series on what is this? Who are these people? Who pays for this? Where do they stay at night? What's their background? Give us some news on Antifa. They're the biggest armed militia in the United States, and we know nothing about them. Why? Because they're aligned with the Democratic Party.
And there is no person you can point to and say, oh, that person represents Antifa. Every time they see 4 black people, they think it's Antifa.
No, it's to be honest.
Well, that was a week, I'll say. Holy shit! 10 hours. That slimy little motherfucker sitting across from me. Oh, you're the best. And I wasn't talking about you. It's just the opposite.
He's giving me a complex.
No, I'm not. What do you mean? Because you've never been this affirmed in your life? I bet. Thank you, Alex. Have a happy weekend.
All right, guys. So we got to talk about the cackling hens on The View, who are finally talking about Antifa. Now, why are they talking about Antifa? Well, they're talking about Antifa because of the alleged bombshell text messages that have come out from Tucker Carlson, basically saying that, you know, hey, he had some very, very, very ill feelings towards an Antifa person that was getting jumped. And in these text messages, he said, this is not how white men fight. Now, the mainstream liberal media has ran with this and said that it is some sort of proof that Tucker Carlson is a racist, even though I've heard time and time again black people make statements about what black people are supposed to do or what black people don't do. Okay, I'm just saying, apparently it's totally fine for black people to embrace their identity as being black, okay, and to say what black people should and shouldn't do. But the white man embraces his identity as a white man and say, hey, this is what white men should and shouldn't do. Apparently that's a problem. Again, just another double standard in our country when it comes to the conversation of race. But again, Tucker Carlson in these text messages expressed his evolving feelings about an Antifa person, goon, getting jumped. And obviously he was fighting his emotions about, you know, the fact that, hey, it's not okay for this person to be getting jumped like that, right? Even though he had ill feelings towards the Antifa person. And probably the reason why Tucker has ill will towards the Antifa person is because, one, obviously, they're a tool of the Democrat Party, and two, he had some personal experience with Antifa showing up at his doorstep, harassing him and his family.
We know where you sleep at night.
Yeah, so that happened back in 2018, I believe. So you kind of get a picture of why Tucker Carlson feels the way he feels about Antifa, okay, and kind of where he's getting his feelings from, just like everybody else, right? How we all feel about Antifa, because we know that they are a major domestic terror threat to this country. But apparently, The View doesn't know that, as they're going to have this conversation about Antifa. And I got to tell you guys, this is probably one of the most ignorant conversations I've ever heard in my life on The View. Especially when it comes to this subject right here, okay? They barely ever mention Antifa. But the one time they do mention Antifa, again, it's as ignorant as you think. So without further ado, we're going to get into this.
Yeah, Suzanne Scott. You know, I think he was smart enough to not do that.
I would like to say something about Antifa, because I looked it up. It's not a highly organized movement. It's a moniker. It's not a unified group like the Proud Boys are. And and more importantly, they are not endorsed by elected leaders the way these Proud Boys, for example, well, we know Trump said to the Proud Boys, stand back and stand by, which is a signal to them.
Okay, we all know that Trump saying that was not an endorsement to the Proud Boys. Trump has no connection to the Proud Boys whatsoever, okay? Again, this is a mainstream liberal media spin. We all know this. We don't have to spend too much time on this.
But Representative Paul Gosar from Arizona, Republican, has posed for pictures with members of the Oath Keepers. Representative Andy Biggs from Arizona, another Republican, has spoken at events hosted by extremists, including one at which a founder of the Oath Keepers called for hanging Senator John McCain.
Yeah.
So the Antifa people that he has so much vitriol for, he goes, I found myself rooting for the mob against the man, hoping they'd hit him harder, kill him. I really wanted them to hurt the kid. I could taste it. What is wrong with him?
Did he have a big...
Wow. Clearly Joy Behar is either ignorant or she's just flat out just pretending that she doesn't know how violent Antifa has been, okay? All the riots and vandalism and destruction that has happened as a result of Antifa. Again, the level of ignorance in this conversation is just so high, and it's almost like they're defending Antifa. In fact, I'm actually going to go as far as to say, yeah, that's exactly what they're doing, because there's no way they can go on air and be this ignorant about Antifa, okay? I mean, she is spewing FBI talking points about how it's not an organized group and all this other crap that they do to try to excuse, not focusing on the fact that we have a left-wing extremist group that is terrorizing this country.
Big Antifa T-shirt on or hat?
Do you know anybody personally who's this hateful? I don't.
That was what was saying to me, but I do want to push back a little bit on Antifa. I mean, FBI Director Christopher Wray called them an extremist group. He called them anarchists in congressional testimony.
But then it was organized.
I agree, they're not organized.
No one has found Antifa. We've heard a lot about Antifa.
I mean, they have websites, they have recruiting online. They do have...
We talk, Sonny's brought up many times about the FBI Director speaking about white supremacy being the #1 target. He also said, that same trusted source, that it's a real thing, it's not a fiction, it's just not organized.
Right.
They ambush, they're awful.
He said it's merely an idea. Antifa is not a highly organized movement, nor is it merely an idea. It's a loose organization.
But it's so odd that we have not... Well, where are they? Because, you know...
They show up everywhere. There's protests and rioting.
But no, they don't come on television.
Yeah, because the mainstream liberal media doesn't cover it, Whoopi. Right? Whoopi is dumb as hell, bro. I don't understand. Like, I'm so serious. I thought Joy Behar was the dumbest person on The View, but time and time again, Whoopi proves to be the dumbest person on this show. Okay, well, they don't come on TV. They must not exist. Where is Antifa? It's like, bruh, just go down to Atlanta.
Sunday's attack on police officers at the controversial Police Safety Training Center. 23 defendants who were arrested on domestic terrorism charges in connection with the riot made their first court appearances this afternoon. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes is live from DeKalb Magistrate Court with today's new developments. Deidre?
In a very long afternoon here at DeKalb Magistrate Court, the hearing lasting about 4 hours. Most of the defendants remain behind bars for now. Only one was granted bond.
Do you understand the charge against you, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Attorney Thomas Juergens was one of 2 Georgia residents arrested during Sunday's attack on police officers at the site of the controversial public safety training facility. In court, Juergens' attorney told the judge that Juergens, who was employed with the Southern Poverty Law Center, was working as an observer and did not participate in the riot.
Mr. Juergens was there as a legal observer, and that he was there more to observe what was going on and see what was going on.
Magistrate Court Judge Anna Davis granted bond with conditions.
I just want some assurance that he has a reason to not contact the co-defendants in the case going forward, and that he stays away from the location. And I feel like there should be some sort of monetary bond attached to that.
23 defendants made their first appearance via video conference from the DeKalb County Jail Tuesday afternoon. They were reportedly a part of a group of about 100 agitators that attacked police.
Hey, can you guys hear us? State trooper was injured in a shooting, and if you're taking a look at video now, I can hear it in my ear. That is just some of the moments that you could see that protesters are throwing bricks at what I believe to be the Atlanta Police Foundation. Oh, hey, turn around. Can we go back? Someone actually, it looks like one of the Atlanta police.
This has been a story that even got national news attention, but apparently Whoopi Goldberg is 100% ignorant of that. Well, they haven't been on TV, right? Wow. Again, this is just incredible. It's just absolutely incredible. But, you know, now I think about it, maybe Whoopi isn't actually really lying here. Again, maybe she's just ignorant because the mainstream liberal media, if they cover this, they really don't. But that story actually got mainstream liberal media coverage because it was so bad. It was so terrible that they couldn't help but cover it. They never actually call these protesters what they are, which is Antifa. Okay, I think that this idea that Antifa is not an organized group is just bullshit at this point. It is a bullshit thing to say. They are 100% organized. When you openly call for protests and riots in a downtown city and people show up and cause that much type of chaos, and you actively go and you commit acts of domestic terrorism against police officers as well too, you are an organized group, right? You are an organized group. Again, they want you to think that there's organized white supremacy, right? The white supremacist movement in the United States is 100% organized. So organized that it is the #1 domestic terror threat that we have in this country, even though I'm not really seeing too much domestic terrorism from alleged white supremacists. But Antifa, who we have actual video evidence of protesters in an organized way committing acts of violence, that's not organized, and that's an idea and is made up, and you know all the things they say. Again, it's crazy. It really is.
It is different. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
It is different than the Proud Boys. It's not as organized. Elected officials haven't appeared with them. We all agree on that. But Christopher Wray said, we're seeing people exploiting this situation after George Floyd's murder to pursue violence, extremist agendas, anarchists like Antifa and other agitators.
Again, there is no person you can point to and say, oh, that person represents Antifa. Every time they see four black people, they think it's Antifa.
No, it's
oh my goodness, bruh. Whoopi, somebody got to pull her off set, bruh, and be like, yo, you're just too ignorant, right? You're too ignorant, bro. I don't understand how you get paid millions of dollars to go on TV and to just be this ignorant. Okay, there's nobody you can point to say that's Antifa. Well, who can you point to and say that's an oath keeper, right? I don't know anything about the so-called oath keepers, but they keep bringing these people up, right? Again, it's just absolutely incredible. Why are you trying to defend this? Why are you trying so hard to defend Antifa and try to pretend like it's not a thing? It's not a serious threat. That's why I said I don't know if this is ignorance or that she's purposely trying to defend it. Again, she said, well, you see 4 black people and you're saying that's Antifa. No, everybody knows that Antifa is mainly white leftists, right? You know, the black domestic terrorists, they are Black Lives Matter. The white domestic terrorists, they're Antifa, okay? Everybody knows that. That's actually educated, that is.
To be honest, it's actually largely white organizations.
Well, that's what we said.
There are people online who openly identify as Antifa.
Well, they may, and I'm going to say, I think oftentimes things like Antifa are things that are thought up, ideas that are thought up and pushed and moved.
Yes, what you guys saw in Atlanta is thought up and pushed and moved. According to Whoopi Goldberg, who's coming out here with straight up Democrat Party talking points about Antifa. It's not a threat. Don't worry about it. It's made up. It's an idea. It's a right-wing conspiracy. Incredible stuff. Absolutely incredible stuff. And see, this is why I try to tell people. People say, oh, conservatives shouldn't go on these programs. I'm like, no, conservatives should go on these programs because you got to push back against stuff like this. You just openly allow people like Whoopi to spew this type of nonsense. The ignorant liberals will believe it. Now, Alyssa Farrah Griffin is trying her best to push back against Whoopi, but she's not trying hard enough because if Alyssa Farrah Griffin actually had cojones, she just tell Whoopi, like, with all due respect, Whoopi, you're ignorant, right? You just don't know enough about this to be talking about this. Like, you're just making ignorant statements, okay? And I can't believe they actually let her air this, considering how The View has writers, right? They have writers. They have people that actually write the things that they're supposed to say. And they let Whoopi come out here and just be completely ignorant on this topic. I mean, who knows? Their writers are apparently striking as well, too. So maybe that's the reason why. I don't know. But again, this is the person that said the Holocaust wasn't about race and has made other ignorant statements as well. So I'm not surprised.
Because for me, you know, if Antifa, if we go with the name,
anti-fascist.
It's anti-fascist. Right.
So dumb.
I don't know who's doing what. I do know that if you had asked a number of people of color about Tucker Carlson, we could have told everyone.
But what do you mean we could have told everybody? Ask me about Tucker Carlson. What do you want me to say? I don't think he's a white supremacist. I don't think he's racist. I don't think he's a white nationalist. And then also this idea, well, they're called anti-fascists, so they must be good because they're against fascism. Again, that's just like saying that the Democratic Republic of Korea must be Democratic because they have the name Democratic in the title of their name. And we all know that North Korea is not democratic. Like, again, the ignorance here is just, it's amazing. It's off the charts.
Yeah. What he really felt, and that this wasn't an act. Right. This was who he was.
You know, Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi have condemned Antifa, the violent actions of people calling themselves Antifa. Tell me, has anyone on the right condemned the Proud Boys?
Well, many have, but not the party leaders, not the people who need to.
Well, these are the party leaders.
They're not
the president.
Yeah,
no,
I'm
not equivalent. Just I keep saying it'd be dishonest.
Really,
hold up.
See, this is what I'm talking about, bruh. This is why I say Alyssa Farrah Griffin is she's just terrible, man. She's an embarrassment for conservatives. I can't believe they even say that she's the conservative host, because Trump has condemned all forms of white supremacy, including the Proud Boys. Now, Joy Behar made a statement that Biden has condemned Antifa. He condemned Antifa like once because Trump basically pressured him to condemn Antifa. But you know how this works, how the mainstream liberal media works? Biden doesn't really say anything at all about left-wing extremism and violence. He doesn't condemn it, but it happens way more often than anything we see happening from people like the Oath Keepers or the Proud Boys or any so-called white supremacy, right? And again, they never come out here and ask him to condemn it, okay? He's only condemned it like once, even though we see it all the time. We rarely see any sort of white supremacist violence or any of the stuff the mainstream liberal media tells us to worry about. And Trump has condemned it 1,000 times. Like, quite literally, he's condemned it so much. But yet, people like Alyssa Farrah Griffin, instead of stating that, she says, well, the party leaders haven't condemned it. And I'm like, Trump has condemned the Proud Boys and white supremacy so much. How do you not know that? How do you not know that? How do you just let Joy Behar make that statement and not counter with, no, Trump actually has condemned white supremacy and the Proud Boys way more than Joe Biden has condemned Antifa or Black Lives Matter or the Roe v. Wade extremists who, firebomb pregnancy centers. Again, it's just amazing. We have piss poor representation in the mainstream liberal media. And it just frustrates me so much because, again, the so-called conservative just does a terrible job at defending conservatives. Again, it's almost like she's on their team, right? She's so bad.
Sonny.
Oh, I have a legal note.
Everything stops for Sonny.
Fox News has not commented on this text message obtained by the New York Times, and a representative for Tucker Carlson said he had no comment.
But they released it.
Yeah, all right. So you guys seen that, you heard that. One of the most ignorant conversations I've ever heard in my life. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.